still kind of dark and dreary outside. I'm sorry my lighting is so poor, but today we're going to talk about more Sherlock Holmes. I know what you're thinking. Where's your deer stalker? We already established you have one. Why aren't you wearing it? Well, it's a little bit big for me since I cut my hair, so it kind of makes me look like I don't have any hair. And I feel like that's a little distracting. Yeah, fun fact about me, I used to have really long hair, and my hair is super thick. Like, it still is super thick, it just kind of goes like straight up. But back then, with the length and the thickness, my head was like 2 sizes bigger. I'm not kidding, it's a real thing. So today we are going to talk about my top 5 favorite Sherlock Holmes original cases. Yay! All of these are my favorites for various reasons, usually because I saw or listened to a rendition of this story that really stuck with me. A lot of it is thanks to the Granada Sherlock Holmes and Jeremy Brett's performances. But I couldn't resist sharing with you all my favorite Sherlock Holmes mysteries. It was really hard to pick my top one. Really hard. And of course, like I said, I'm only using the original stories by Arthur Conan Doyle, nothing newer. Maybe I'll do some of that later if y'all are interested. I could do like top 5 Sherlock Holmes mysteries that were not written by Conan Doyle, something like that. Let me know, it's cool. But for now, we're just gonna stick to the Conan Doyle stuff. So let's get down to it. Number 5 goes to The Empty House. The Empty House, if y'all remember, is the one that where Sherlock comes back from the dead. And part of my love for this one is the performance of Hardwicke, who is playing Watson at that point. His and Sherlock's interaction in that moment is amazing. And then we had it again in The Empty Hearse, which is the new version from Sherlock, the BBC's Sherlock, and Watson's reaction was again perfect for that Watson, and so that helped cement The Empty House as one of my favorites, the emotion between Watson and Sherlock when Sherlock is alive again. I also really love in the story with Sherlock making like the wax dummy of himself and Mrs. Hudson crawling across the floor to turn the dummy periodically. It's just great. I love it. Number 4 is the Six Napoleons. One of the reasons that I love the Six Napoleons is because growing up, it was my brother's favorite Sherlock Holmes story. My brother and I are still pretty close, and we were very close growing up. We were pretty much inseparable, and so I liked to watch the Granada version of this with him. It was always like, let's watch Sherlock Holmes, which one? That one. Yes, my young brother and I, as children, watched Sherlock Holmes voluntarily. We weren't watching Barney, we were watching Sherlock Holmes. But of course, the Six Napoleons is great because it has a really great mystery. You're wondering the whole time, like, what exactly is going on with these statues and who is breaking into all these houses. And it's really engaging, and I love at the end when Sherlock busts up the statue and everybody, he like so carefully puts it on the table and then he just beats the shit out of it and everybody's like, what the fuck just happened? It's amazing. My number 3 favorite is the Copper Beeches. Again, mostly because of the Granada performance by Jeremy Brett. It's sort of an old-fashioned treasure hunt kind of story where they're trying to track somebody and track some sort of hidden treasure, and they have to figure out things like, you know, the measurements are off because the trees have grown since the day that the measurements were taken and how many paces and all of that shit, and I just love it. My number 2 favorite and number 1 and number 2 are really close and they could almost be interchanged. My number 2 favorite is The Dancing Men. I love The Dancing Men. When I was little, I was kind of obsessed with it, and I made my own Dancing Men code that I would use with the little figures and everything. I loved the code. I loved Sherlock figuring out the code and deciphering it. I mean, weren't we all into secret codes for a while when we were kids? That was like a thing for a little while in like the 90s. Everybody was secret codes, and The Dancing Men was my secret code of choice. Unfortunately, I couldn't get anyone else to use it, but damn it if I didn't love it anyway. I probably still got like old art with like Dancing Men written on it. But it is a really fascinating mystery. It's really suspenseful, and I love it. And my number one spot, as I said, very close with the Dancing Men, but this one had to win out, and that is the Speckled Band. The Speckled Band was my favorite Sherlock Holmes story growing up, but not for the Granada series, but in fact for a radio play that we had that was just, it was spooky and eerie, and even as a kid I liked to be frightened. I liked to listen to and watch stuff that was scary. And so I would put this Speckled Band radio play on and I would turn off the lights and I would sit in there and just immerse myself. Especially in the part where Holmes and Watson are waiting in the room for the snake and Holmes sees it but Watson doesn't, and Holmes is frantically like trying to get the snake to go away, and it's like this horrifying suspenseful scene. And as a kid I just ate that up, and I still do today. Even though it's not as frightening as it used to be for me as a little kid, I can still let my imagination get away from me and let myself get fully immersed in that story. Plus the mystery is just so interesting, and the whole setup and the house being under construction, the eerie whistle in the night, all of it is just so suspenseful and so dangerous, and you feel like the characters are in danger a lot of the time, and I just absolutely adore it, hence why it's number one. So those are my top 5 favorite Sherlock Holmes stories. What are yours? Leave a comment below and let me know. Are you familiar with all of these stories? If not, I really recommend you check them out, and I really, really recommend that you check out the Granada version with Jeremy Brett, because that is how I was introduced to most of these stories as a child, because my parents are awesome. And remember, if you liked what you saw here today, subscribe, like, and share it with your friends. Remember to keep an eye out for my videos coming out twice a week, and I will see you again next time with whatever I happen to be doing next time. Bye!